Hello and welcome back to Hollister MacIntyre. We are currently trying to re-sign Romeo Okwara, and I think we can get this deal done. He's had a really good season. We were kind of considering both the brothers, but for now it looks like Romeo might be more of the focus here, and we'll go ahead and get that done, and he's good to continue. From there, you know, we take a win against the Vikings, which is rare. I think that is pretty much like one of our only 3 wins, and then it's right back to our losing ways and a blowout to the Bengals. So going forward, let's just check one more loss here off our table. Bam! Another close loss to the Packers. Going forward, I am going to stream the entire season, the off season that is, and the entire next season. So that would be season 3 now. That will be entirely done on stream tomorrow at around noon or 1 or so. So just check out twitch.tv/MrFuzzihead sometime for that. The idea is I am 2 seasons behind my Olympia series on catching up the timelines and everything of when players drafted and go into the NFL. And so I'll need to play through these 2 seasons on stream. So this first weekend, this Saturday, will be the first week, or a season that is. And the next season and off season will be done, and I guess off season after that as well actually will be done on the next Saturday. And then after that we should be caught up, hopefully. That should be everything all lined up, so that if Olympia players or players of other schools in that series go to the draft, we will see them immediately in the draft right after getting drafted. It's not going to be waiting 3 years or 4 years for them to be in this series. I know that's going to be a bit of a time skip, so hopefully if people really care, they'll look at the vlogs, and I will be providing summary video after explaining what happened. So at least there's some record. There's chronicles of what we've gone through here. As Amendola catches a nice pass there, and actually Austin Belton is at the top. I think he's like 2nd or 3rd, maybe 4th most passing yards in the NFL this year. Now I know he's thrown a lot of interceptions, and a lot of that's due to my play, but he's had a fantastic year. So the number one thing I like to worry about when I'm against the Vikings is definitely the rushing attack with Cook, as they're going to beat you through the air though with Thielen and Justin Jefferson as well. Unfortunately, you kind of just have to pick your poison here. I like to think Cook is their focus player, kind of like Derrick Henry. Not obviously as good as Derrick Henry, but he's not far off either, honestly. 2nd inches here, play action, and that's a sack. Nicely done there from Jeffrey O'Sullivan. O'Sullivan's been an insanely good player. He actually leads, I don't know if he leads the league in sacks. Obviously we'll see in the off-season stream, but he is tops in the league in sacks, pretty close too. As we're gonna do a little jet sweep, or I guess pass here. That's going to Jason Huntley, who I think might have earned at least a training camp spot, for preseason. So we'll see on that one. But enough on a sweep to Tom Kennedy, who has also looked okay. He's not been as good as I thought he would be as a converted wide receiver to running back. So we'll see on him. But yeah, so Austin Belton's been one of the statistically best quarterbacks if you ignore his interceptions in the NFL. Obviously Jeffrey O'Sullivan has been fantastic. Mitch Newman has been really good. He's got a lot of tackles. Hasn't done as much as I thought he might. He does have 1 interception. And then, as we're going to get a touchdown here with DeAndre Swift, who has been fantastic this year when he hasn't been injured. We need to get more depth at running back so he doesn't get injured. When we look at some other players that were drafted, James Lincoln, I think, has been solid. That's about all I can say on him. Eventually, the plan is to move him to center, his natural position. We haven't really seen much of Vernon Boatwright, and that's simply because we just didn't need him. We had the depth at tackle. But Vernon Boatwright is huge and raw, so we'll see next season. He might step into that role, as DeAndre Swift has a little bit of a bruise here. He's gonna sit out. And an interception from Austin Belton. I need to get better at reading those RPOs. I had just been really bad at reading RPOs this season. It's my first time back in Madden after a while, so hopefully I can pick up on that a little bit. Other rookies that have disappointed, Delonte Turk. Part of that is just me not finding him often. He's been pretty decent as a deep threat, like you can throw it down the field and at least get a PI, but he hasn't been as impactful as I was hoping for. Kerry Webster also has been a little less impressive than I expected. Webster, obviously, from my Olympia series, and the only reason I added Webster to the draft was because he ended up having so many sacks at Olympia on one of the worst teams, you know, and I think that would stand out. If you were able to get a lot of pressure as a defensive end, or I guess in his case, a linebacker, an edge rusher, really. If you're able to get a lot of sacks as an edge rusher at a terrible university, like, or college like Olympia in Division 1, I think that means something. Because obviously, now this can't happen in the game in NCAA 14, but you know, you would double team that player. If there were no other viable threats on the line, you'd double team that player and just not worry about it. I mean, how often are you going to beat a double team? And so the narrative being that Kerry Webster beat double teams, you know, and maybe even triple teams. I mean, he could just beat that kind of stuff and get sacks on the quarterback. And I don't think he's gotten a sack this season with Salt Lake City. Which is a little disappointing. He's gotten an interception. He's gotten a lot of tackles. You know, he's not been bad. Not by any means, but his thing was supposed to be that he could easily get to the quarterback, and I haven't seen that as much from him in year 1. He does have star dev, so it wouldn't shock me if he gets to that level quickly. But that's just something I've noticed. Really hoping for him, you know, since he was kind of I think he was actually the character I usered in Season 1 of Olympia. So just kind of interesting on that. Going ahead, this upcoming draft that you'll be seeing on Saturday will not have any Olympia players in it. It is entirely a random draft. As I've mentioned, we'll look at scouting, but Chance Fortunata is the guy to watch out for. He is the unanimous #1 pick as of right now on all mock draft boards. Of course, there could be others that are worth taking a look at. That's all I'm gonna say. So I expect him to go first. You know, probably to us, but we'll see. And then as DeAndre Swift just having a fantastic game, there's a touchdown from him after coming back from his injury. And spike. So we'll be looking at that. But the next season we'll have the next season draft, and I just realized it's gonna take 3 seasons? No. Okay. Yeah, I think we're good here. I'm trying to do the math in my head. So the next season after, we'll have some of the Season 4 Olympia draftees, like guys that were with the team from the beginning, as well as Season 5. So let me break that down. That'll be Dusty Hale, Lance Roach, and Prince Lofa Taupau from Olympia. Obviously, all 4 were true freshmen when we started the series and graduated after Season 4. Of course, all 3 were very impactful and would have gone to the draft, in my opinion. Dusty Hale led the league in tackles for years. So the entire NCAA, he was the guy in tackles for just so long, kind of like a Luke Kuechly. And I kind of compared him to that when I made his character. You know, of course, you might not be getting the most athletic specimen in him, but you are getting one of the most intelligent and player-rec, guys. Same with Prince Lofa Taupau. Lofa Taupau, obviously, his big calling card was strength, and he ended up having the most sacks after his senior season. Of course, that thing got broken by Dylan Winters the season after. It might probably get broken, I can't remember if it already has, by Curtis Simpson. But Prince Lofa Taupau led, our team in sacks and tackles for loss. But a lot of that was due to his strength, and I made sure to replicate that here. He got a lot of strength rating, super high rating. Decent power rushing and run stopping, and that's kind of where it stops. He's got great things day one, but he doesn't have a ton of upside, and I think that would be true of his character because we didn't really see him grow a whole lot from season 1, unfortunately. And then finally, Lance Roach. Lance Roach is rated as he will be rated as a low 7th round player probably, just because physicals wise, he wasn't anything special. Obviously, he's got good route running, and he's got great, like, after the catch, you know, stuff. As we see Dante Turk, there he is. Or no, that's actually DeAndre Swift making a catch. Lance Roach has a lot of great change of direction and agility, all that kind of stuff that after you give him the ball in his hands, yeah, sure, he can make something happen. Of course, maybe that could lend itself to another position. Who knows? We'll see on Lance Roach and his story and the rest of their stories. Also included, like I said, will be Ezekiel Roberts, the tight end from Season 5, who was a true freshman in Season 2. And he is a high prospected player because of how fast his intangibles and his tangibles at tight end were pretty spectacular. Think Kyle Pitts type, not quite as good, of course, but he'll get some Kyle Pitts comparisons. He'll definitely be going pretty early. You know, of course, we'll see on him because I really didn't ever see him grow in his seasons. Felt like his first seasons were his best. And then finally we have Kosi Mensah, the fullback. Now I know he's a fullback, so it doesn't really generate a lot of hype. Of course, fullbacks I don't think are ever drafted. They might actually be. I'm not sure when the last one was. So Kosi Mensah, I put him as like projected to be the very last pick in the draft. And that's just in case we don't take him, somebody will take him. I want him to get drafted. I guess if he doesn't get drafted, he'll probably get signed, which is fine. But ideally, he gets drafted. So we'll see. Probably still won't get picked up. But, you know, obviously Kosi Mensah, more of a running back type fullback. Didn't have a lot of great blocking. It was okay for college. Probably not going to be super useful in pro. But what he didn't have in blocking as a fullback, he definitely made up for with his utility. That guy was great in the pass game, great in the run game. We didn't utilize him enough in my opinion, but it is hard to utilize a fullback with playbooks. So hopefully he goes somewhere and gets some use. Definitely don't want to just see him in the I form, you know. Could be a third string running back, as Mitch Newman picks up a sack there. So, where does that leave us for the final season? Well, you're going to see some of the big names. You're going to see Darius McIntyre. You're going to see Kai Linehan. You're going to see all of those names. Byron Handy, Brett Kraft. All those names are going to be in that next season's draft. And once we finish that season, we will be caught up. Because then we'll be on par with Season 7, I believe. Yeah. So, that's what we're looking to do. I have moved up the season. So, normally, you know, it would have been Season 4 and Season 5. Olympia players wouldn't be lumped into the same draft. But, unfortunately, I wanted to shortcut things, you know, so we don't have too big of a time cut. And then Darius McIntyre and all of them, yeah, they're getting moved up a few seasons as well. That's fine. That'll leave us at Season 5 of Hollister MacIntyre and Season 7 of Olympia. And that will be where everything's caught up, because we have time skipped 2 years in Hollister MacIntyre, and we've jump cut it 2 years from where it was in Olympia. Oh, that reminds me. Cole Bright, the quarterback we played at Oklahoma, from Haltom, Texas. He is in the next season's draft. Not this one, with Chance Fortunata. Again, original content on Chance Fortunata. He was not Olympia, not in any team on Olympia. Product of Alabama. But Cole Bright was, and he is projected to be the #1 pick in that draft. The quarterback. I think, considering he was a 99 for so long at Oklahoma, I have to bring him in. I did also make him for Olympia, even though he was never intended to go to Olympia because he was from Texas, and thankfully he didn't. And it was fun getting to play him and, you know, get 2 picks off of him, even though I believe we ended up losing that game. So, you will be seeing Cole Bright get drafted pretty early in next season's draft. And of course, Olympia already having Austin Dalton probably wouldn't be looking at that anyway. Hopefully we don't have the first pick anyway next year. I don't want to have to do that again. So anyway, that's where we're at. Let's go ahead and finish out this game, and then I will see you all tomorrow. As here, Minnesota's going to take a 2-touchdown lead with 8 minutes left in the half, or in the game, that is, as Austin Belton going to air it out to Delonte Turk, and there he is, the Kansas product, pulling in a PI flag. And that's what I think he can give you. He can burn. That's about it. I haven't seen a lot else from him. 2nd and 10 now. Belton gonna find Dante Pettis, and Pettis gonna fight his way into the end zone. And just like that, Salt Lake City's got a 1 touchdown deficit, as Dante Pettis has also topped the leaderboards this season. I forgot to mention him. I looked him up in real life. Not that good apparently. Maybe somebody else knows better, but Jeffrey O'Sullivan's going to get a tackle for loss, and that'll be back to Salt Lake City ball. So a chance to tie things up here with 6.5 remaining in the game. And off DeAndre Swift, he's going to get a first down and then some. That's about 14 yards there, as Hunter's going to get injured and Salt Lake City moves the chains. RPO here, and that was a dangerous pass from Belton. As we know, I have struggled with those RPOs, hoping to figure out a little more on that. Now we're going to find, that is Dante Pettis. When in doubt, Pettis it out there. That's going to be about 15 yards and a first down for Dante. And Salt Lake City has a chance to go ahead and win. While a meaningless game for draft position, we have locked up the #1 seed, or #1 pick. You know, at this point, it's a moral win. We want to win this one for the Gipper, you know? Here we are, 3rd down and 8 now, as we're going to motion DeAndre Swift out wide. Something I wanted to see a little more of this season. Actually had him right there, should have thrown it to him, but instead, a gunslinging pass from Austin Belton to Dante Pettis. And that's going to pick up another first down, as Belton's had a really good game so far. Only 1 interception. Going to find DeAndre Swift here. He's going to cut this one outside following his blockers. I've really been impressed with the kid this year. Definitely supposed to be the bell cow, in my opinion. Now Belton gonna roll with this one, take off, throw it, and that's an interception that might just cost us the game. Unfortunately, something I have been bad at was throwing the ball to the other team in this game. 3rd and 6 here, a chance to get the ball back for Salt Lake City. Still have a timeout as well, and Cook is gonna get taken down by Mitch Newman. Newman has just been solid, nothing spectacular, not a star yet, but really solid. Taking down a 9 here for Belton. He's going to find DeAndre Swift over the middle. The check down and gets him a first down. And a 2nd down and 15 with a minute remaining. Got to push the tempo here. Dropping back, Belton. I think he had Tom Kennedy out of the backfield, but he holds on and finds Amendola for a bigger gain. Unfortunately, inside of the bounds, you know, you got to get this one out. Throwing it out here, and that gets dropped on 4th and 10. And that will be the game, as Salt Lake City loses their finale. Unfortunately, only could pull together 3 wins this season. And I don't remember, I think we got one of them on recording. We do have the first overall draft pick though, so we'll see how that goes. Thank you so much for watching, and please catch the stream on Saturday around noonish.